will be pulled in a similar way. If you take a look here, network, you see it's making this query here to pull those logs, okay? Okay, so let's go. So that's basically how the web app gets data from the backend. The mobile apps do a similar thing. So there's an Android app, there's an iOS app. So if you take a quick look at the Android app here, okay, it too has GraphQL queries that it makes, right? So on the mobile on the Android app, so this will be the call that the Android app will make to get boot layer logs. This will be the call that the Android app makes to get compute layer logs, okay? So if we were to run this mobile app real quick, so this is in development right now, so be patient with us. This will get, complicated over time. It'll get, obviously more fancy. But for now, we're just trying to get the plumbing working. We just want to get the mobile apps to talk to the backend app and pull data. Once we can get that data, then we can start to prettify it and make it look better, and fancy over time. Okay. So if we were to run this, and we take a look at the logs, you'll see here, right? It makes a call, and let me show you the code for that. Right? So here we have an Apollo client, right? We define our Apollo client here, right? So it talks to dev.jana.io, which is running locally as our middleware application, right? So what you're looking at here is the calls that are coming from the web apps and the mobile apps to the backend, to the middleware application. So what it does, it has an Apollo client. It used that Apollo client to make a call to the middleware application and say, give me all the workflow items, right? So if you take a look at the workflow query, right? The workflow query looks like this, right? So it's making this call right here, right? And it's logging the result, right? So that's what we're looking at here. So we see that it was able to make a call to the middleware application. It does a query for all the workflows. So these are the workflow lists that it got, right? So there are sites, okay? There are users, there are boots, right? So basically we have, at this point, we have the Android app able to talk to the middleware app and pull data. The next part of these will be then to start to say, how do we actually show that data within the mobile app, right? So there will be subsequent videos where we show all of this, okay? So let's take a look at the SwiftUI app real quick. Similar to the Android app, the SwiftUI app also makes the same kind of query. It's the same, there's one backend, 3 front ends. So all the queries are the same. It's just that who's making the query, that's why the front end applications differ. Okay. So if you see here, the SwiftUI app also does GraphQL query calls to the mobile to the middleware application. So let me show you where that's defined. So this is where we define that, right? To say a SwiftUI app, do a local call. So this is where our middleware application is running. It's running on that port. It's providing the GraphQL API. So the SwiftUI app would also make the same calls. So let's run that quick. Let's rerun it. Okay. So what it does it does a call, right? So let's go into the app quick. Right? So here it has this thing called workflow, right? And what this does is it makes a call to the it makes a call to the middleware application, and it queries all the workflows, right? So what you're looking at here is where we log that result, right? Similar to the Android app, it's getting the same data, right? So that's the beauty of this. Each mobile app, including the web app, will make the same queries to the backend and get the same data. How we render that data is based on whether we're on iOS or Android or web app. Okay. So basically, this concludes the developer presentation in the sense that we've shown you how to build the images for each one of our apps. We've shown you how we actually run the apps locally for development. We've shown you that we have a Django middleware application, and we've entered some sample data in there for now manually. And then we use our mobile apps and our web application to pull that data into the front, right? So, obviously, let me actually put, this would all get, fancy over time. Once we get the data into the mobile apps, we can actually start to render that data in some fancy way, using, of course, we're using UX principles. We're not out here just reinventing the wheel. Using best principles as far as user interaction, we'll render this data for efficient efficient user interactions.